Hey gang, it's Coach Barry here. Take a look at this. This is a medal that I won at the Rock and Roll Marathon. Let's see, this was in Virginia Beach in 2004. Oof, that was a while ago. At any rate, this is what they look like, and you're going to get a medal soon. I wanted to give you just 5 minutes, and tell you a few tips that are going to be in this week's email. First off, we got about 19 weeks to go, so stay deliberate with your training through these upcoming weeks. I know it's going to be a busy time of year. It always is busy. The important thing to do is be deliberate. Put a plan together of when you're going to go out and train through the week. Treat it like a client. Put it on your calendar. And when something comes up, you can say, I can't go now because I've got to train, but I can go an hour later. Or whatever. You just want to make sure that it's on your schedule, just like all your events, whether it's a work event or social event or your kids event. Make your training not something that you just squeak in, that it's actually part of your routine. What's going to be coming up in the next few weeks, we're going to start talking about doing different paces. So far this season, we've only been doing easy pace. Easy pace is the most important pace, but moreover than that, let's talk about run, walk, and the walk. How do you approach those? Common pitfall for running is that people discount the easy pace. They want to go out, they run hard, they run farther, and that's the biggest mistake that new runners make, or even sometimes experienced runners. They just want to run hard all the time. That's a sure way to adapt your system, adapt your body to run out of fuel as fast as it can, and that's when you're going to hit the wall and not have any more energy to go. So respect the easy pace, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. Run walk. The way you approach run walk is you set up a good interval, whether it's a 1 minute walk and a 2 minute run, or a 3 minute run and a 1 minute walk. Find what was comfortable for you, and we'll go over how to determine that also. But you got to find an interval that works for you, and you got to do it right from the very beginning. One of the common mistakes people will make is they say, well, I'm going to run at a reasonable pace, and then when I get a little fatigued, then I'll kick in and run walk. That's not going to work. That's not how run walk is designed. That's not how Jeff Galloway will teach you, or any of the other experts will tell you. You want to run walk right from the very beginning. You want to set that pace, set that interval, do it right from the very beginning, and then as you get close to the end, the last 2 miles, 3 miles, whatever you feel comfortable, if you want to start running the rest of the way, that's when you do it, when you've got gas in the tank. When you're on the course and you run out of gas, you're not going to get it back by switching to run walk. So make sure you set that interval, find one that works for you, practice with it, and use that. Walking, an important thing about walking form is you want to make sure that you stay forward. All your motion's got to go forward. You want your head straight, up, looking forward. And what we've found is a good way to keep that forward momentum is take an open hand, and as you swing your arms, make sure there's no daylight between your hips and your flat hands. So that way, that'll keep your arms pushed back a little ways, and it'll stop you from throwing your arms way up in the air. You want to keep them back a little ways, and it'll keep you going forward to kind of get you that little swag going on. So now back to the paces. The easy pace is the most important pace. About 60% of your training is going to be easy pace. Why do you run easy pace? Because you want to adapt your systems to being out there for a long period of time. Like I said a few minutes ago, if you don't use easy pace, you're going to train your body to use its fuel as fast as it can. By being out there and going at easy pace, your body's going to understand and realize and adapt that you're going to be out there for a while, so it won't use the easiest source of fuel, it'll use the most efficient source of fuel, and that way you'll have plenty of fuel throughout your entire workout and on race day. Another pace that we'll be getting into is a tempo pace. We look at that one. The importance of tempo pace is focusing on pure endurance. What I mean by pure endurance, there's a waste product that you get when you work out called lactic acid. As you run, walk, or train, or any kind of exercise, you're going to be burning energy and creating lactic acid. Your organs, your kidneys, your liver, all your different body organs have a mechanism of processing that waste, that lactic acid, but it has a threshold. And when you reach that threshold, it's another way of saying you hit the wall. You just will not have any more energy. You won't be able to continue your workout at the same level that you had been. So by doing tempo pace, you will increase your lactic threshold. And how do we do tempo pace? Tempo pace is going to be about 30 seconds lower than your 5K pace. Easy pace is going to be about a minute, minute and a half slower than your marathon pace. So those are the two paces we talked about so far. Easy pace, a minute, minute and a half below marathon pace, and your tempo pace will be at about 30 seconds below your 5K pace. Tempos will start with short intervals at that pace, and then you'll do easy pace, then maybe another interval of tempo pace, and that you do that throughout your workout, and that'll help push the envelope for your pure endurance. And then as the season goes on, we'll throw in some longer intervals of tempo pace with an easy pace on either side. The last one you do is about 10% of your training workout is going to be for VO2 max, or speed work. VO2 max is the ability to bring in oxygen and turn it into fuel. So we're going to increase your VO2 max by doing some speed work. And that's going to be a little bit higher than your 5K pace, and it'll be for very short distances. So we'll give you the information on that. Now, how do you find out what is your 5K pace? What is your marathon pace? What are these paces that you want to do for tempo and for VO2 max? Well, go out and do a 2-mile time trial or run a local 5K and record that time, and we'll give you a pace chart that you can match up, and it'll tell you at what distance you should be running, at what pace, and when we're doing a tempo run, what your tempo pace should be, and when you're doing a VO2 max, or what's also called an interval pace, what is the proper interval pace for that. We tell you to do the 2-mile time trial. You want to run at the highest level of intensity you can do for that 2 miles, or the 5K sometimes works better for a lot of people because you may be a little bit more competitive in a 5K. Even if you're walking nearer to the back of the pack, you're still going to be pushing a little bit harder to get across that finish line because the excitement of the crowd will be there. And that way you get your most intense pace, you get that recorded, we put that into the pace charts, and then I'll tell you what you should do with these other intervals or these other strategies for your easy pace, your tempo pace, and your interval pace. A quick note about food. Nancy Clark's clinic we had last week was awesome. It was recorded. You should definitely go back and look at it. Even if you participated, go back and look at it again. She's just awesome. You know, her comment or her mantra is our mantra is food is fuel. You want to go out fueled when you work out. You wouldn't get in your car and try to go somewhere if you didn't have fuel. It's the same for training. One common problem people have is some people think they can't eat in the morning. And if you're trying to work out in the morning, that can be a problem. What happens when you're sleeping, you're going to lose glucose. Your body's going to burn energy while you're sleeping. Your glucose levels are going to go down. Then you're going to get up in the morning, be deprived of your sugar, your glucose. And when you go out and train, it's going to make it very difficult. It's very bad for your brain. Your brain needs glucose. And you'll get out there saying, this really sucks, or I just can't get through this. A lot of emotions will fly. So you can just take a candy bar. That'll help. Any kind of sugar in the morning will help you get through that. Or even better yet, eat something before you go to bed. Maybe a peanut butter and jelly sandwich when you go to bed at night. So it'll raise your glucose levels up. You'll dwindle down through the night as you sleep, and then you'll still have some reserved for your morning workout. Well, that's it for now. I hope to talk to you soon in the next week. Michelle will be here. We'll put some of this in this weekly's email, and just remember this, the work you're doing is important, and go team.